Hello, Dr. Petta. Back with you today. How is Pittsburgh going?
Pittsburgh's doing fine, Helmut. We could probably use a little less rain right now, but other than that, Pittsburgh's Pittsburgh. Great city.
I guess there's almost no denying climate change. Not necessarily global warming, but climate change, because some areas have a drought, some have too much, way too much. I mean, it is a little funny, isn't it, huh?
Yeah,
all right.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Dr. Petta, I would like to talk to you today about something relatively serious and has been lately in the news, sleep apnea.
Okay, got it.
Apparently, the medical field has noticed that a tremendous amount of people have it. Almost everybody who snores, which in my humble opinion, looking from my family, from my wife's family, I don't know anybody who doesn't snore, including me and my wife. So that probably means we all have some sleep apnea, and never mind the sleep apnea, what it does, never mind the snoring, which causes problem in itself, but apparently it really makes people tired, exhausted, fatigued. They fall asleep in the afternoon. There are car accidents because of it. Shed some light on it and tell us what the medical establishment has found out there.
Okay, well, basically sleep apnea is you're cutting off your airway. And one of the things that first happen when you cut off your airway is the tissue in the back of your throat will kind of flap around, and that's basic snoring. But a lot of people have it to a greater degree than that. So as things get shut down, you can't pass air into your lungs, and so you become oxygen depleted. I guess it's kind of tantamount to holding your breath for a while. After you do it, the oxygen runs out. You kind of get a little bit lightheaded and dizzy. But imagine you doing that all night long in your sleep, and you're robbing yourself of oxygen.
I've heard that some people. I've heard that some people, when they get measured, not that everybody has to get measured, but I've heard that they sometimes stop sleeping or stop breathing 20, 30, 50 and more times an hour.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know all of the statistics on it.
Right.
But, a lot of people will basically just stop breathing, and I really don't think that that's healthy for you to stop breathing.
No, because, we know that as you explained it well, try to stop breathing, it's just not so good. And if you do that constantly, you're waking up, basically. That's what the idea then is also, right? Never mind that you get oxygen deprived, you also get sleep deprived. People like that never go into their deep sleep, and that's why they wake up a little more exhausted than they think they should be after having apparently a good night's rest.
Right. I guess it would be analogous to somebody constantly waking you up at night. You're just about ready to go into a nice deep sleep. They wake you up. You're ready to go back. They wake you again. Go back, wake you again. Well, you've probably slept enough hours, but you haven't had enough good quality sleep. And we've all experienced that in our lives. If you haven't had some good quality sleep, the next day, even though you've rested in bed, you're kind of going to feel exhausted and ready to go to sleep, or hard to concentrate while you're driving your car, doing your work, etc.
Right, and in fact they have just in New Jersey there was a guy who wrapped a buzzer on the ball, killed a few people, and they heavily suspect sleep apnea. And that's, overall they're suspecting that there's more car accidents caused these days from sleep apnea than from drunk driving. Imagine that.
Right, could very well be. I know that it's a problem that they're bringing into light.
So, for all purposes, a good sleep apnea, fixing sleep apnea. If somebody wakes me up 10 times a night, I'll probably shoot the person. I kill him. So, how do you kill sleep apnea? How do you kill this thing which makes you waking up?
Well, I think one of the things that you can do is there's dental devices, or actually devices that your dentist can make out there, that move your lower jaw forward. And as it moves your lower jaw forward, then it tends to take the soft tissue that would fall, cutting off your airway or starting to cut off your airway, and open it up. And one of the things that people will first notice is they will go from a snoring to like a non-snoring mode in there. And they're very, very helpful as snoring devices. I know I've made them for myself and for some other patients, and it works effectively on myself, not 100% effectively, but it certainly cuts down on the amount of so-called snoring that I wake my wife up with.
Mm-hmm. And do you feel, since you are one of the dentists who is using it himself, do you also feel less fatigue, more alert throughout the day when you wear them?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, anytime that you can get a good night's sleep, it's always, very, very helpful. And one thing I do want to add about wearing these devices, I'm not much for a lot of wanting to put, stuff in my mouth at nighttime. When you take impressions on me, I'm a bit of a gagger, so I don't like that. But I have found these things to be very comfortable to wear when they move your jaw forward. So they're not really cumbersome. A lot of people think that they're going to be, but they're not. And it's a simple, easy way to try to eliminate some snoring and some cutting off of your airway, so that you can get proper oxygen back down into the airway.
Okay. So you're basically helping two people. You're helping yourself because you now get a good rest, a night's sleep, and you're helping your partner if there's somebody sleeping next to you, getting sleep also. Because I don't think most of us realize, or actually maybe we do, but again, it cannot be stressed that not having a good night's sleep, makes you cranky, makes you making mistakes at work, and now you look for that pick-me-up in the afternoon, be that an espresso, or be it a Red Bull, or some of that energy drinks. And while they do a little bit of a trick, they obviously just, nothing fixes the getting it from the basis. So let me ask you a question here. There are sleep apnea tests, which you take to see whether you actually stop sleeping and how often and all that. That's where those statistics come. But I've also heard from many dentists and from many, many doctors that, okay, while that test shows you the statistic, here's really what you want to look for. That test is rather expensive. Here's what you really want to look for. Are you exhausted in the morning? Or actually, number one, are you snoring? Chances are that you have sleep apnea becomes high. If then you come on it that you basically feel like you're not quite sleeping and yet you did sleep, well, that's another big sign. If in the afternoon you're craving that pick-me-up, whether you resist it or not doesn't really matter, whether you just think you're weak and old by now and you get that. If you get any of those things, if you're sometimes more irritated than you think you should be based on the rest of the world around happening, you go and get a mouth guard, fix it. Most likely, even if it only takes care of the snoring, you're already way ahead of the game. Most likely it will take care of the other one. No reason to measure how often you stop. Just go and get it and see yourself being more energetic. Is there some truth to that, or should a person go and do that test?
Absolutely very true. I mean, the cardinal signs are all of the things that you went over. And if you have that, a very simple and basically economical device that you can get is something that moves your jaw forward while you're resting. If that clears up the snoring, you've got a handle on the problem, and then you can monitor yourself how you're feeling during the day.
Which is the most important thing, right?
Right, exactly.
Good.
Right, exactly. So if you're feeling better and more energetic, you've solved the problem. Of course, just like anything else, if it carries on, and you haven't solved it with that, or you're still feeling tired, you can always take the next step and do whatever tests that are, required to really find that out. But once again, a little prevention, a little trying something simple in there, I think would work very, very well.
Right. There's something else you mentioned, two things actually. Number one, you said that this device doesn't take care of the whole thing 100%, but takes care enormously quite good. We don't need to put a percentage to it. And another thing you just mentioned, the inexpensiveness of it. Now, let me add on it. We know that there is actually a device called a CPAP machine which presses oxygen. Actually, it's just room air in there with a big mask, and that those masks, if worn, work better than the snoring guard. And the key word here, the important word here is if worn, because almost all people simply can't stand it. They take it off. It even is actually noisy, and it's at least your spouse snoring, you get used to it. You look at her, you go, lovely little wife, and you're actually fine with it, because it's a natural noise coming from somebody you love. So, but now you have this other machine pumping there, and the person using it barely can do it. Most people I hear, literally most, 90-some%, just can't stand it, take it off, except if their life is so threatened that they have it so heavy. So basically, yes, it may not be perfect, but it's a lot cheaper. And like anything else, you may never do the perfect exercise, because the most perfect exercise is always the one you actually will do.
Right. Absolutely. They're large, cumbersome machines, and most people don't want to. I mean, the thing for people to do that don't know what one look like, put it in a search engine on the internet. Look at how cumbersome one of these things are. Imagine wearing that at nighttime, and imagine to try to. Everybody kind of twists and turns at nighttime and move and flips and flops. Imagine moving around with that. And people become even a bit claustrophobic with it. So
right.
I don't blame them for not liking that. I certainly wouldn't like it. That'd be very much of a last resort for me. So once again, it's a good idea to just try something simple.
Good. All right. So here we got it. So you want more energy? You want to be less cranky? And you don't want to disturb your wife with the snoring or your spouse? Go to a dentist. It's amazing what you guys all take care of, from good looking in the front, from good looking not having a caved in face, from headaches because of the jaws misaligned, shoulder pain, neck pain, kidney, liver disease, premature born baby because of gum disease. I mean, you're kind of the all around. Just go to a dentist. You're fine.
Exactly.
Bye-bye.